लॉजिटेक ब्रियो कर दूं क्या? क्या? हेलो 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 गाइस, कैन यू हियर मी नाउ? Can you hear me now? Still inaudible. डन। अब अभी इनऑडिबल है अनुज? I am audible? Oh, good. I hope I'm not echoing. Is my voice echoing, guys? I'm so sorry for this. I should have checked it before. I don't know why didn't I do it. I am audible? Voice echo तो नहीं कर रहा? मेरी आवाज गूंज तो नहीं रही है? Anybody? No echo? Good. Good. Oh, so let us start. अब हमें पता है कि MH it is echoing a little bit. Can you handle? I mean, there's a session going on. I don't want to waste any more time. Right? Already 6 minutes we are down in the session. Right, so we'll tackle it later. As of now, let's continue with the session. So we know that MHCT's questions are difficult to procure, but these are the questions that we have been able to procure over the years. So whatever we are practicing in this session is, you know, are the questions that have been asked over and over again. कई बार पूछे गए, not just in MHCT, in other exams as well. And you should obviously take hint from other exams because you never know, जो topics बाकी exams में पूछे जाते हैं वो भी important होते हैं, और उन्हीं topics को ध्यान में रखते हुए I have devised an entire set of 15 questions concerning the most important topics that are always asked. इनमें से ही topics बार बार एग्जाम में पूछे जाते हैं. So let's continue with our practice, right? I am not going to show you the answers as usual. You need to solve them on your own, and whatever answers that you have, you can answer right now. I'm not going to tell you the answer. You can post the answers later on in the comment box, or you can log into the app and under prep resources column you would be able to find the answers. Okay, so let's start with the first principle. An act is not wrongful if done in exercise of a legal right. So a police officer, a police officer arrests a suspect with a warrant. Is Raj's act of arresting the suspect lawful? It's pretty easy, isn't it? देखो, सोचने वाली बात है. राज एक पुलिस ऑफिसर है, और हाँ, राज एक पुलिस ऑफिसर है और उसने अरेस्ट किया है वारंट के साथ. तो तुम्हें क्या लगता है क्या होगा इसका सही आंसर? Yes, of course. What he has done is absolutely lawful. Why? Exactly, because he has a warrant. Since he has a warrant, he has a sanction from the judiciary that yes, you can go and make the arrest. So A इसका सही आंसर होगा. काफी आसान था इसलिए मैंने बता दिया. चलो, question number 2. Principle. Consent obtained by coercion is not valid. We know that, right? A consent has to be a free consent in order to make it a lawful agreement and then thereafter a valid contract. तो अगर कंसेंट कोर्जन से लिया गया है तो अग्रीमेंट वॉइडेबल या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वॉइडेबल हो जाता है. आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड दीज कंसेप्ट्स. when is a contract voidable? When does a contract become void? What is an agreement void ab initio? Every concept relating to the formation of contract, guys, is very important. It's imperative that you read it. इनमें से एक क्वेश्चन हमेशा आता है किसी भी लॉ एंट्रेंस एग्जाम में, स्पेशली इफ इट इज नॉट क्लैट. ओके, Rina signs a contract after being threatened. Is the contract valid? Pretty straightforward. Is it valid? No, because her consent was obtained by threat. Good. Principle. Necessity knows no law. Now, this is a principle which might confuse a lot of students if they do not understand the concept of necessity. Necessity kya hai, right? Is it a tort? What is exactly necessity? In a shipwreck, Aman pushes another person off a plank to save himself. Is Aman's act legally justiciable? Necessity, because it was necessary for his survival. No, because it resulted in harm to another person. Yes, but only if the other person was a stranger. No, unless there was no other means to survive. Necessity basically is a defense. Again, a very important concept. अगर आप डिटेल में पढ़ना चाहते हैं इन concepts को तो आप यहाँ नहीं पढ़ सकते. Unless and until I'm conducting a dedicated video for these concepts, I won't be able to teach them to you in these sessions. For these detailed concepts and a detailed conceptual understanding, which is very important for exams like these, mh-cet, Jamia, etc., you have to log into the app, enroll in a proper course so that you can understand these concepts, right? So you're saying A, yes, because it was necessary for his survival. You'd be amazed, but the answer is D. See, ऐसा लगता है कई बार कि एक स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड आंसर सही होगा, बट इफ यू रियली अंडरस्टैंड नेसेसिटी, यहाँ पे नेसेसिटी अप्लाई नहीं होगा. Necessity has two facets. One is civil and the other is criminal, right? और criminal और civil दोनों में necessity has a few exceptions. Unless and until you understand the exceptions, you cannot just apply the principle straightforward. This is law, guys. यही है कानून की खासियत. कुछ भी straight jacket नहीं है, कुछ भी black and white नहीं है. Although we call it a black letter word or a black letter law, but it is really not. Law is gray. It is open to interpretation. You cannot interpret it according to the words written. To save him, yes. To save him. So what? Necessity knows no law. It doesn't mean that under a necessity you would kill everyone. If you have read about a case, you need to find the name yourself. अगर आपने वो criminal case पढ़ा है, तो उसमें there were 3 people who were deserted in a boat, no means of survival, no fresh water, no food, nothing whatsoever. They killed the youngest person to eat him so as to survive. They were held for culpable homicide. It was not deemed to be a necessary situation. It is not justiciable. Necessity ऐसी situation में काम नहीं करता. If you are willing to kill somebody in order to save yourself, तब necessity नहीं लागू होती है. ठीक है, तब necessity, तब that's culpable homicide. You killed somebody to save yourself. You have killed with an intention, and that intention, even if it is to save yourself, will not be excused by law. So the answer to this is D. अब तुम्हें जान के हैरत होगी कि ये क्वेश्चन एमएचसीटी में आ चुका है और इसको चैलेंज किया गया था बिल्कुल उसी. Hats off, bro, to who? You saw it in the movie too? Well, this question was challenged by a number of students on the logic that, this is A should be the answer and D should not be the answer. The challenge was dismissed and D was held to be the answer. मैंने ये तब भी पढ़ाया था कि D इसका आंसर क्यों होगा, क्योंकि इसके लिए केस है क्रिमिनल में, राइट? अगर वो क्रिमिनल के केस आपने पढ़ा हुआ है तो फिर इसको आंसर करना आसान है. इसलिए मैं कहती हूँ कि लीगल रीजनिंग को बिना लॉ पढ़े आप नहीं दे सकते. क्लैट में भी नहीं दे सकते. क्लैट में बल्कि पैसेज आ रहा है, प्रिंसिपल इज राइट देयर इन द पैसेज हिडन समवेयर, बट यू स्टिल नीड टू हैव एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ लॉ, माय गाइस. Anyhow, ignorance of law is not an excuse. This is a classic saying. It's very, very important. Ignorance of law is definitely not an excuse. So, unaware of a new traffic law violates it. Can Sita be excused for breaking the law? Very straightforward. Very, very straightforward. Do you think she's liable for breaking the law? The answer to this is yes, no, no. What do you think? Yes, because she was not aware. No, because ignorance of law is not an excuse. And the correct answer is B. Obviously, exactly. Right, I've said this I've explained this principle, haven't I? और मैं यही ट्रैफिक वाला एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कि दिल्ली में ट्रैफिक हाँ, of course, previous question needs to have an interpretation. It takes an interpretation from a case law. It is an established principle. Necessity knows no law, but it comes from an established principle, a case. You can read that case, right? You can read that case. खुद ही ढूंढ के पढ़ना पड़ेगा. और अगर पढ़ने का मन है उस केस के बारे में, तो फिर ऐप पे जाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. ऐप पे आप जाएंगे जब, तो आपको प्रेप रिसोर्सेज में शॉर्ट नोट्स नाम का एक छोटा सा कॉलम मिलेगा. उसको आप खोलेंगे तो उसमें उससे रिलेटेड पूरा का पूरा केस है. उस केस को आप पढ़ लीजिए. आई हैव गिवन दैट केस लॉ इन अ बिट ऑफ अ ब्रीफ इजी लैंग्वेज विच विल मेक इट इजी फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड. इफ यू रीड दैट केस you'd be able to understand कि इसका आंसर ए क्यों नहीं है और डी क्यों है, और क्यों mh-cet ने उस चैलेंज को डिसमिस कर दिया. ओके, सो या. हाँ तो भाई, इसका आंसर है नो. वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. ठीक है. अगर कोई किसी और स्टेट से आता है और दिल्ली में आता है और सीट बेल्ट नहीं पहन रहा है, और उसको उसको पुलिस ऑफिसर और ट्रैफिक पुलिस ऑफिसर गिव्स हिम हर अ टिकट, and then he or she says कि भाई I am not from Delhi, I don't know what your rules are, that is not an excuse. It doesn't justify the fact that you are not wearing a seat belt. You have violated the law. Moving on. One who uses his property to the annoyance of others can be restrained from doing so because it can be construed as nuisance. अब nuisance जैसे प्रिंसिपल को इतना लंबा एक्सप्लेन कर दिया. जो अपनी प्रॉपर्टी को इस तरह से यूज कर रहा है कि दूसरे अनॉय हो जाएं, तो उसको रोका जा सकता है. क्यों रोका जा सकता है? क्योंकि देयर इज अ टॉट of nuisance that would stop him from annoying others using his property. So if somebody is playing drums right next door at the highest volume, at probably in the middle of the night, I can definitely stop him from using his own drums in his own house, because that's the right that law gives to me. He does not have a right to annoy me. So Arjun plays loud music at night, disturbing his neighbors. Can he be restrained? Yes. Yes, absolutely. A is correct. Very, very good. Now, an agreement to perform an impossible act is void. Again, very straightforward. Karan agrees to paint a house in 1 day for a large sum. Is this agreement valid? क्या ये agreement valid है? The question is, can a house be painted in a day? That is the question of fact. Now, this question is a little bit vague. It is ambiguous because the size of the house is not mentioned, right? So, if the house is a normal sized house, then of course it can be painted in a day. But the assumption here is that the house, no matter how small it is, cannot be painted in a day. Because house painting means painting it in and out, and it cannot be performed by a single person, Karan, in a day. बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकता ऐसा. इसलिए ये impossible है. The act is impossible to perform in a day. B was deemed. No, B was deemed to be the correct answer. If Karan believes he can do it, if I believe that I can make people vanish. I believe that if I pray hard enough, I can kill. But it doesn't make it possible, right? So, no. B is the answer. C is not the answer. Act is impossible. मेरा जवाब नहीं है, mh-cet का ही जवाब है. क्या कर सकते हैं? बी आंसर था उनका, और यही कंस्ट्रक्शन था उनका. अब इस तरह के एम्बिग्यूअस क्वेश्चन में तुम क्या करते हो? व्हाट डू यू डू? राइट. सी तो इसका आंसर बिल्कुल ही नहीं है. अब एलिमिनेशन इस्तेमाल करिए. यस, बिकॉज ऑफ द लार्ज सम इन्वॉल्व, ये तो गलत है. एलिमिनेटेड. राइट. देन बी को थोड़ा सा उस पे लेट्स पुट अ पिन ऑन इट. देन कम्स सी. Yes, Karan believes he can do it. This also is not an option that suits the principle because belief तो बहुत सारे लोग बहुत कुछ करते हैं. Right? I come from an RS Samaji family. I don't believe in idol worshipping. Right? हम मूर्ति पूजा में हमारी फैमिली का विश्वास नहीं है. I have been raised that way. लेकिन दुनिया की बहुत बड़ी जनसंख्या मूर्ति पूजा करती है because they believe God exists in those idols. So they can believe what they want. I can believe what I want. Doesn't make anything right or wrong. Similar analogy. कि अगर मैं विश्वास करूं तो ऐसा कर सकता हूँ या मैं विश्वास करूं तो ऐसा नहीं कर सकता. दैट इज नॉट हाउ लॉ वर्क्स. If you are going to be, lawyers, you cannot think along those lines, and because of that very reason, belief is not something that law is based upon. See, इसलिए eliminate हो जाता है. No, unless Karan is a professional painter. पेंटर कितना भी प्रोफेशनल क्यों ना हो, अगर कोई काम एक दिन में नहीं हो सकता तो वो एक दिन में नहीं हो सकता. योर प्रोफेशन डज नॉट add to your, speed. It definitely would contribute. You might work faster than the others, but it does not mean that you are, you are doing it the best, or you can do it at flash speed, or you have some superpower. So again, by a simple assumption, D also gets eliminated, and by method of elimination you arrive at B, which is the only logical answer. कई बार लीगल रीजनिंग को लॉजिक से, small plastic home, what kind of, this is also an assumption. Like I said, law doesn't work on assumption. जितनी भी assumption है उन्हें आप cancel करिए. ठीक है. Karan agrees to paint a house in a day. वो professional painter है, ये एक assumption है, हमें नहीं पता. अगर करण को लगता है वैसा कर सकता है, अगेन समथिंग विच इज अ बिलीफ, लॉ नहीं वर्क करता है इस बेसिस पे. एक क्योंकि लार्ज सम इन्वॉल्व है, ये भी हम, दिस इज रिडिकुलस. बहुत सारा पैसा मिल रहा है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं हाथी खा जाऊंगी, नहीं खा सकती मैं. Right, so because of the elimination of the options that do not fit, I'm able to arrive at an option which seems the most logical. Sometimes amidst options which are very confusing, you choose the one which is least confusing, and that usually is the right answer. The question was tricky, yes. Now, mere silence as to facts likely to affect the willingness of a person to enter a contract is not fraud. We have understood this, I'm sure, right? I mean, I'm sure you must have read it. Important है ये. Silence का मतलब fraud नहीं होता. Silence does not amount to fraud unless there was a duty to speak. This is the proposition, this is the proper concept of Indian Contract Act. We are not assuming anything. We are not assuming anything. We are only going by the logic. तो ये assume, अरे यार तुम समझे ही नहीं जो मैंने ये, दिस इज नॉट अ डिबेट, हमारी बहस नहीं चल रही है. ठीक है, तुम उस चीज को सही नहीं कर सकते जो सही है ही नहीं. वी आर नॉट इन्वॉल्व इन अ डिबेट ऑफ लेट्स सी, या आप तो ये कह रही हो, आप ये कह रही हो. नो, डोंट गिव मी लॉजिक दैट डज नॉट फिट. अगेन, क्वेश्चंस को ऐसे सॉल्व नहीं किया जा सकता. इट्स नॉट अबाउट यू बीइंग राइट और रॉन्ग. mh-cet डिक्लेयर किया था, एंड दैट इज व्हाट वर्क्स. A seller does not disclose a minor defect in a car. Is the seller guilty of fraud? Yes, because he did not disclose. If the effect is minor, does not affect the car's performance. Yes, but only if the buyer asks about defects. No, unless the defect is dangerous. Well, B is actually the correct answer. B वाकई सही answer है. Moving on, a person is liable for injury caused by his negligent acts. A construction company leaves a pit uncovered and a pedestrian falls in. Is the construction company liable for the injury? Very straightforward. Yes, because it was negligent to leave the pit uncovered. No, because the pedestrian should have been careful. Yes, only if the pit was on a public road. No, unless there were no warning signs. Again, what do you think is the most logical answer here? क्या है इसका सबसे logical answer? Anyone? I think I know what you're going to say. Let's see. Yes, because it was negligent. Absolutely. Yes, it was absolutely negligent in leaving the pit uncovered, no matter where it was, a public or a private place. Leaving a pit uncovered is always dangerous. Even a construction worker might fall in. So, yes, it is negligence. The company is liable. Then a contract is void if it is made for an immoral or illegal purpose. The object of the contract, if the object of an agreement rather is immoral or illegal, it is void ab initio. The facts: Ram and Shyam make a contract to share the proceeds of a robbery. Is the contract valid? The answer is, what do you think? No, unless the robbery is successful. How interesting is this option? The answer is yes. You're absolutely right. Obviously, it is not valid because the purpose, the object is illegal. Absolutely, very good. So defamation is making a false statement that harms a person's reputation. Neither writes a blog falsely accusing Raj of corruption. Can Neeta be sued for defamation? सारे के सारे जो essentials हैं, they seem to be qualifying automatically. She writes a blog falsely accusing Raj of corruption. So there is no truth in the statement. ये होता है, कई बार ऐसा होता है, जैसे जब मैं क्लैट की तैयारी करवा रही थी आपको, व्हेन आई वाज teaching you how to solve questions related to CLAT, I told you not to apply your knowledge at all. If the passage tells you that Article 19 is giving you a right to equality, you would have to believe what the passage says. You cannot really apply your knowledge. Your knowledge is only so that you can solve the questions faster and decipher the passage more quickly. Here, although, when it comes to principal fact-based questions, that knowledge becomes imperative. ठीक है, अगर ये defamation is making a false statement that harms a person's reputation, although the principal is not giving you the opposite of it expressly, but it is absolutely true. Defamation is not making a true statement even if it harms a person's reputation. Truth is a defense in defamation, criminal or civil. So if Neeta was making or if Neeta wrote a blog which was true based on facts, even if it was harming Raj's reputation and accusing him of corruption, which was, a sound truth, then Neeta would not be liable for defamation. यहाँ पे साफ लिखा हुआ है कि वो falsely accuse कर रही है, तो she is liable for defamation. आज कुछ है क्या? पटाखे क्यों फोड़े जा रहे हैं? What are people celebrating? I can hear firecrackers, or is someone's head exploding? I hope it is not the latter. Am I missing something? Can you also hear it? Okay, let's not go into it. Time waste. Self-defense is only justiciable if it is proportional to the threat faced. We have learned it. रिपब्लिक डे शुरू हो गया क्या 9:30 बजे? इतनी खुशी है लोगों को गणतंत्र दिवस की. डू पीपल इवन नो कि रिपब्लिक डे का सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है? ओ कार्तिक, अरे कहीं तुम्हें सजेशन के लिए ना कोई सो कर दे. आई होप यू आर अ माइनर बडी. ठीक है, मत कहो ये पब्लिक स्टेटमेंट्स बहुत 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 बड़ा कंट्रोवर्सी लीड कर देगा. ये फिर मुझ पर आ जाएगी कंट्रोवर्सी. आप अपने बच्चों को यही सिखा रही हैं. ठीक है, तो प्लीज लेट्स नॉट डू इट. लेट्स कीप इट इन आवर हेड. ओके, यस. सो इन अ फिस्ट फाइट, A punches B, B responds by stabbing A. तो बताओ, B का एक्शन जस्टिसेबल है? प्रपोर्शनल मतलब अगर उसने मुझे थप्पड़ मारा है तो मैं अपने आप को थप्पड़ से ही बचा सकती हूँ, या उसका हाथ रोक के बचा सकती हूँ, बस. इससे ज्यादा मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकती. पेपर के बदले पेपर, हाथ के बदले हाथ, डंडे के बदले डंडा और गन के बदले गन. मतलब अगर आपको लाइफ थ्रेट है कि कोई आपको जान से मार देगा, तो अपनी जान बचाने के लिए आप उसकी जान ले सकते हैं. ये है प्रपोर्शन. लेकिन आपको डर है कि वो आपको थप्पड़ मार देगा और खुद का गाल बचाने के लिए आप उसकी हत्या करते हैं, तो ये प्रपोर्शन नहीं है. ये बहुत बहुत डिस्प्रपोर्शनेट है और यहाँ सेल्फ डिफेंस काम नहीं करेगा. द रिस्पॉन्स इज नॉट प्रोपोर्शनल टू थ्रेट एंड दैट इज व्हाई बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट, एवरीवन नोज अबाउट मनुस्मृति, राइट? मनुस्मृति को बड़ा पॉपुलर किया गया कुछ टाइम पहले, और ये फर्स्ट कोड और ये और वो बढ़िया फलाना. एंड आई एम श्योर लोगों ने ये बिना पढ़े किया क्योंकि वो कुछ और एजेंडा था उसके पीछे. मनुस्मृति में self defense mentioned है. It was the ancient penal code, right? And Manusmriti is absolutely silent on the proportion in self defense. So if a Shudra or a person back then, who would be a scheduled caste or a tribe according to the modern world, has slapped a Brahman, the Brahmin can respond by killing that Shudra. And according to Manusmriti, this is a perfect self-defense. That is the quote they are advocating. मतलब सेल्फ डिफेंस को लेकर मनुस्मृति काफी साइलेंट है, और कास्ट बेस्ड पनिशमेंट है, ब्राह्मण्स के लिए अलग पनिशमेंट, और वैश्य के लिए अलग, शूद्र के अलग, क्षत्रिय के लिए अलग. बाकी अगर आप अपने आप को सेल्फ डिफेंस कर रहे हैं, और अगर आप अपने आप को डंडे से बचाना चाहते हैं, और आप भाले से उसके पेट में भाला घुसा देते हैं, तो फिर आपने खुद को बचाया ही तो. इट्स ओके. सेल्फ डिफेंस, सेल्फ डिफेंस. या आई एम नॉट lying. I have actually read a little bit. पूरी नहीं पढ़ी है मैंने, पर मैंने थोड़ी सी मनुस्मृति पढ़ी है. शौक में ले ली थी मैंने, क्योंकि I wanted to, my favorite author was inaugurating a book fair, not one of, but a book fair in Lucknow, and Mr. Narendra Kohli, मोदी नहीं, नरेंद्र कोहली. अब तो डेथ हो गई उनकी, बट उस टाइम पे मैं इतनी ज्यादा ओवर एक्साइटेड थी कि बस ये दिखाने के लिए कि मैं बहुत पढ़ाकू हूँ. हालांकि पढ़ती तो मैं हूँ, लेकिन मैंने मनुस्मृति ले ली जस्ट सो दैट आई थॉट, जस्ट सो दैट आई कुड इम्प्रेस हिम कि अरे ये तो बच्चा कितना सारा पढ़ता है. आई वाज इन कॉलेज सेकंड ईयर. So he asked me, what do you do? I said, I'm studying law. Acha, that's why you bought Manusmriti. And yeah, you might be arrested. And I might be arrested for facilitating this, thought and not asking you to leave my class. कोई कुछ कहेगा तो कहना, इंडिपेंडेंस ऑफ थॉट है, और कोई कुछ मुझसे कहेगा तो मैं कह दूंगी अरे ओपन प्लेटफॉर्म में कोई कुछ भी कहे, मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ, है ना. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. आई एम ग्लैड यू हैव एन इंडिपेंडेंट थॉट, बाय द वे. वेरी गुड. अ लॉयर शुड बी लाइक दैट. It shows that you are going to be a very, बढ़िया, strong, independent minded lawyer बनेंगे आप, which is a good thing. Now, an employer is liable for the wrongful acts committed by his employees in the course of employment. क्या है ये? Can somebody tell me the tort name for this principle? Please, I would be so happy. It would mean that you guys are actually studying, and it will actually make me happy. Yes, so the employer is liable for the wrongful acts committed by his employees in the course of employment. क्या है ये? Which tort is it? आंसर से पहले tort का नाम तो बता दो. आंसर बता दिए. Oh, good. Yes, it is vicarious liability, and the answer is A. Very good. चलो. Okay, my new thing is making this sound. I don't know why I'm doing it. Again, now, theft is the dishonest taking of property with the intention of permanently depriving the owner of it. Right? सबको पता है ना कि थेफ्ट का एक्चुअल एलिमेंट्स जो है वो थेफ्ट के क्या है? डिसऑनेस्टली टेकिंग द प्रॉपर्टी. इसमें सब कुछ नहीं लिखा हुआ है, बट यू नीड टू नो. IPC and BNS mentions theft in exactly the same format and words. It has not changed. सेक्शन नंबर बदले हैं, लेकिन क्राइम्स का जो फॉर्मेट था, जो उनका मीनिंग था, और जो उनके प्री रेक्विजिट्स थे, दे रिमेन द सेम. सो थेफ्ट इज स्टिल एन ऑफेंस अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी, depriving the person of possession without his consent with a dishonest intention by moving the property, by taking it away. Varun borrows a book from his friend and forgets to return it. Has he committed theft? I just answered 0.01 second before. Oh, you just answered. Namra answered. Namra answered what? I'm confused. What happened? How did I miss it? Okay, so you are saying that it is no. The answer is no. That's what you're saying. B is the answer. No, because there was no intention of permanently depriving. Yeah. ऑप्शन के हिसाब से बिल्कुल यही ऑप्शन होना चाहिए. ऑल्सो द बुक इज नॉट टेकन विद अ डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन. ही बोरोड इट एंड फॉरगेट्स टू रिटर्न इट. द इंटेंशन वाज नॉट रियली डिसऑनेस्ट. ठीक है. नो बिकॉज इट वाज बोरोड नॉट स्टोलन जरूरी नहीं है. अगर बोरोइंग के दौरान एक डिसऑनेस्ट इंटेंशन हो तो भी वो थेफ्ट ही हो जाएगा. ओके. Freedom of speech does not protect statements that incite violence or hate speech. Why am I making this up? Anyhow, a politician makes a speech that incites religious hatred. Is the speech protected under freedom of speech? What do you think? नहीं, मुझे तुम्हारे आंसर्स relatively स्लो मिलते हैं. There's not a perfect coordination between me showing you the slide. Anyhow, yes. What do you think the answer is? The answer is B. Because it incites violence and hatred, obviously. But they're not really getting arrested for it, are they? Agreement without free consent is not valid. मैंने question हटा दिया क्योंकि I have a lot to say on it. I am also a lawyer and a very independent-minded one, and I get carried away with things like that. इसलिए हटा दिया. Agreement without free consent valid नहीं है. We know that. A contract signed under the influence of alcohol, is the contract valid? No. Yes. Yes. No. That's no, but 105 protects them only in parliament or during parliamentary proceedings. 105 does not protect them for anything that they say outside the parliament. By the way, ठीक है. 105 का एप्लीकेशन काफी वाइड है, लेकिन वो उसका एरिया लिमिटेड. It is very strictly geographical, and it protects every member of the parliament only if they are inside the parliament, not otherwise. पार्लियामेंट के पार्लियामेंट्री प्रेमाइज में तो वो कुर्सी उठा के बिल्कुल शोर मचा दे, they lose all sense of decorum and mannerism, they would still not be like, but outside they would be. Okay. 105 does not protect them outside. TYSN क्या होता है? चलो इसका आंसर बी बता रहे हैं. नो, बिकॉज द कंसेंट वाज नॉट फ्री, द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वाज साइंड, द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज voidable. दैट्स ट्रू एंड द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज डेफिनेटली नॉट वैलिड. सो दीज आर द 15 क्वेश्चन गाइस. पता भी नहीं चला कितनी जल्दी हो गए. तुम लोगों के सर टाइम का पता नहीं चलता ऑनेस्टली. राइट. सो एक्सेप्ट टू क्वेश्चंस. Article 94 is for state legislative assembly, 105 is for parliament. राइट. तो जैसे पार्लियामेंट एमपीज को प्रोटेक्शन 105 में है, वैसे ही एमएलएस को प्रोटेक्शन 194 में है, लेकिन वो स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली एंड पार्लियामेंट ओनली. ओके. सो गाइस, जामिया एलएलबी का मॉक तो अब खत्म हो चुका है, बट द स्लैट इज लाइव राइट नाउ एंड इट्स गोइंग टू बी लाइव फॉर 3 more days, 25 26, एक्चुअली 4 more days. ठीक है, काफी दिन के लिए लाइव है ये. आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू टू टेक इट. This is available free of cost. You would not get an opportunity like this again. You would be competing with your peers that are there in your actual exam. So make sure that you are registering and taking the exam. Right. So these are the questions that we are doing on a regular basis. सबको पता है, it's Wednesday today, right? So every Wednesday we have a session like this in which we practice 100 most or 1000 most expected questions. तो ये क्वेश्चन बहुत जरूरी है. ऐसे बहुत सारे, आई नो कि ये प्रैक्टिस मैम 15 क्वेश्चंस को प्रैक्टिस करके कितनी प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी. यू आर राइट. But these 15 questions give you 15 concepts and you get 15 concepts every week. Now, I understand that there is a repetition of several concepts, but then that would give you an idea of what to study. Right? And of course, this is only scratching the bare minimum. It's only scratching the surface. डिटेल के लिए, कंसेप्चुअल डिटेल के लिए आपको एक प्रोग्राम में रजिस्टर या प्रोग्राम में एनरोल करना ही पड़ेगा. ये जरूरी है अगर आप सीरियस हैं इस चीज को लेकर. एमएच-सीटी का रिजर्वेशन जो है वो बहुत बहुत ज्यादा ऐसा इतना नैरो कर देता है आपके अंदर जाने के रास्ते को कि आपके पास बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग लीगल बैकग्राउंड होना चाहिए टू मेक योर वे इनसाइड दैट भीड़. इसलिए make a wise decision. So the courses are running, and all you need to do is very simple. There is a link appearing, and you just need to click the link, and you will be taken to a Google form. Fill it, and you'd be registered for an online counseling, a one-on-one online counseling, wherein one of a team member will counsel you as to what to do when you're preparing for other law entrance tests. तो इसमें आप प्रोग्राम में रजिस्टर या फिर कोर्स में एनरोल करना चाहते हैं तो कैसे कर सकते हैं, सब कुछ आपको वो काउंसलर बता देगा. मेक श्योर दैट यू फिल दैट फॉर्म. ही वुड ऑल्सो गिव यू अ गाइडेंस एज टू व्हाट द कोर्स ऑफर्स. ऑनलाइन क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम आपके इंडिविजुअल तैयारी से किस तरह से हटके और आपको क्या ऐसा प्रोवाइड किया जाएगा जो आप खुद पढ़ के नहीं मैनेज कर पाएंगे. Tomorrow it's an off, it's a public holiday. Everybody take a break. कल का दिन तुम भी पटाखे फोड़ो, बढ़िया खाना खाओ, एंड वी शैल सी ईच अदर ऑन संडे. हम संडे को मिलेंगे. वी हैव अ वर्कशॉप ऑन संडे, अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्कशॉप. Everybody wants to have a strategy, even the ones who are taking the exam or willing to take the exam once again. Dropping an year in a competitive exam like CLAT does not really matter in the long run, so you can easily do it. Right, so if you want to understand, I have devised strategies for all students, the ones who are taking the exam for the first time and the students who are taking it for the second time, the ones who are repeater. तो इतने सारे टाइम के साथ किस तरह से मैनेज करना है ताकि आप डिस्करेज ना हो, परेशान ना हो, अपनी मोटिवेशन को लूज ना करें, राइट, और डिजेक्टेड फील ना करें कि पहले नहीं निकाल पाया, आप कैसे निकालूंगा. और जब लिमिटेड टाइम है, क्योंकि आप 12th में आपके बोर्ड्स भी हैं, स्कूल भी है और बाकी सारे एंगेजमेंट्स भी हैं, उनके साथ किस तरह से मैनेज करें, क्या रूटीन होना चाहिए फरवरी से लेकर बिल्कुल दिसंबर 1 तक. आई गिव इट टू यू word for word. You need to register for this workshop at any cost, right? It won't be available thereafter or after that. You can only attend it live. 28th of Jan 6 p.m. I shall be waiting for you. प्लीज ऑल ऑफ यू टेक केयर, और हम संडे को मिलेंगे. सब अपना ख्याल रखेंगे. थैंकफुली ठंड भी कम होने लगे, तो ख्याल रखना इजी होगा. गुड नाइट एवरीवन, टेक केयर. MHCT, yes, MHCT has that kind of rush, but I'm not discouraging you to take MHCT. You should.